Alright everybody, this is going to be a little bit different than normal because I have a lot to show you and it might take several videos. This is just the current household that I'm playing in a town in which I play every single sim. The challenge that I've been playing for about 3 years, much earlier than when I started a YouTube gaming channel. This is just something that I've been playing for fun. This is converted, and I've converted it myself, as there's not like official conversion rules for The Sims 3. This is a Sims 2 challenge, and it is called the Test of Time. So what you're looking at here, all of these Sims are the product of about 4 to 5 generations of Sims. Demetrius up here. Okay, so he's a 3rd generation Sim. So his mom's up here somewhere, or his grandmother who's passed away. He's married to a 2nd generation Sim, I think. Yeah, so she came right after one of the founders. So technically I'm in my 3rd, 4th generation, and I am playing the Roman era. So this household that I'm going to show you is a great kind of a starting household for that. No, please ignore the roofs. They're ridiculous. I've been trying to fix this. I did something with the build and it messed it all up. But essentially what I have here is what it looks like, or what is called, is the Gladiator family. So I'm actually playing some Sims that unfortunately are going to die like on Friday, or some of them will. Depends on who survives, and there are rules as to who's potentially going to survive. So only boys can be gladiators, which means poor Elpis here is going to be sacrificed. But I really am not good about killing my Sims off. I usually just want to keep them all alive. I have over 100 Sims that I'm playing right now, which is crazy. Demetrius is one of my favorites, actually. I'm really bummed that he was selected for the gladiator household. And he looks awfully modern right now. They keep changing into their not Roman outfits. Philomena and Hermes are married, and these two are actually the caretakers of the household, so they are not in any danger of joining the games. Julius Fahadeen here in his awesome "What are you wearing?" I'm just going to go ahead and change his outfit so you can see what he normally looks like. Oh, wait, hang on. Alright, we'll go into athletic, right? So essentially all of these Sims, and it is getting dark, right, so I've got a little bit of content in here also. I do use the story progression. I might have to turn it off here in a little bit because they all end up marrying each other kind of behind the scenes. It got to the point where I couldn't manage to run around and like find good matches for my Sims who weren't related to each other because they're all related. But basically they come over here and they're training and things like that. So I'm trying to build up their athletic because whoever wins in a fight is whoever survives. Now, not all gladiators were killed back in the day. In certain situations, like Tekel over here, Edifice, he's an alien. Aliens would not have been tolerated, I don't feel, in Roman era. So it's kind of something that I've added. Aw, he's not having good dreams either. I actually thought I had killed him off because the rule was if he was ever seen in public that he would have been like stoned or something like that. And he made it somehow past that. I wasn't playing his family, and I thought I had like sent his the Sim off somewhere else because he just wasn't supposed to exist if he was found in public. But I guess we're gonna take him into the Coliseum, which I've recently built. So these other Sims were just selected. There's a slave lottery, and that happens. And I was honestly putting off doing that for quite a while. It's just a part of the original challenge. Hermes and Philomena here, like I said, aren't in any danger, but you can tell by the last name as to whether or not a Sim is a slave or a plebeian or a patrician or a, emperor. So that's the way the game is currently being played. The first 3 generations of this game, you're supposed to play it as Neanderthal, and then after that we're in Roman era. So I think the next era after this is Viking, and then you get like Renaissance, and eventually you get what's after that? Sorry, you get like the Dark Ages, right, and you can go into like colonization of the Americas or that, region of the world, or you can separate it out to something else that's a little bit more modern after, and he's going to work out too. That's a little bit more modern after, and essentially the goal is to play 20 generations of Sims. So I am in so Demetrius, at least, thankfully, before he was selected in the slave lotto, had a lot of children. So, he's got Aurora, Madonna, Nike. I'm starting to give them Roman names. Agape, Chrysanthe, which actually meant golden. She's got that golden hair that her mom had, and Cleopatra. And I thought he had another child. Sometimes the children just vanish and the game forgets them eventually. His wife, like I said, she's actually she's a younger sim from an older generation. Right. Oh, yeah, so it forgets some things. Jerry had a lot of children, and it's just not remembering. So anyway, I'm gonna probably go out of this and go into map view. Now this is happening in Sunlit Tides right now. I actually had created a world for them, and they outgrew it, so now I'm in Sunlit Tides and just deleted things like the school that you don't need for this. But if anybody is looking for a very challenging sim challenge, that would be this one. Let me go into sim, and I'm going to say make active. So sometimes you can go through NRAS mods and make an active sim, and I'm going to test full family so you can see all of the sims in this world. Now, the ending, the last name, is what determines their position in society. So in the very beginning in Neanderthal, you start with 5 families, and the 2 families that have the least children, because you basically get a financial bonus for each child. Those 2 sims, or those 2 families, or 1 or 2 families, however many, become slaves automatically, and the other ones are ranked according to how much they make. So the family that had the most children, and it basically had the most boys, was the Cove family, and they happened to be very pale in color, and so they ended up, so anybody with a C, like a Cove, Cova, Cove, I just changed the ending of the name so I can keep the family branches in line. And this is what happens when you let the game name your sims. I got Dequan Cova over here with his curly hair, or Jonas. You just get these really, not fitting names. So I eventually started just after these first couple of generations. Geraldine here is Gen 2, I think. I eventually started going to behindthename.com and pulling up names that were befitting, and so a lot of these, or most of them, are based on something else. Camry's one of my favorite sims. I can't stop playing. He's just awesome. But the Coves basically have a lot of money. They get a higher bonus when they move into a new lot and start a new family. Lindsay here is special. She's a create a sim. The goal of this game is to not have to add your own, but because my game remembered everybody being related so well, I was running out of potential spouses, so I introduced 5 sims that I created as kind of treated it like if the Romans had gone out conquering and they brought back a lot of slaves, which they were known to do, that these slaves then could intermarry, and so I would just grab a slave and marry up to whichever family needed. So I had a lot of boys in the Cove family, and they just didn't have enough girls. A long story right now, but Lindsay's actually the current empress in her, or I'm sorry, it's the opposite. Kale is the one that I introduced because I had to right. Anyway, I'm not sure. I think I just wanted to have redheads, but whatever. So these are their children, which you can start to see their coloring. So I love the genealogies in this game, and this is part of the reason I can't really just pop on over to Sims 4 one day. I don't know if I'm going to have, if I'm going to be able to let go of what I'm currently doing and the things I love about Sims 3 to go into a game like 4, so I'm just not even going to get into it right now. But, I love the fact that you can do so much with generations in here, so, I love their names too, Sophis and So Straight and all of that. Tycho, these are all, Tycho, I think is how you say it. You've got Aesop. Now, Aesop here might, oh, shoot, I just made him active. Oh, whatever, see, it's Flower Day. Well, I can go into this family since I'm talking about, the Emperor family and all that. I don't know where he's going, and unfortunately everyone's wearing winter clothing because, I guess it's getting a little cold. But let's see. You're not going diving. Well, whatever. Who cares what you're doing? You got... Alright. Well, whatever. It's hard to keep them in the appropriate attire, and then they keep adopting pets because I have pets reinstalled. So anyway, Floriana here is Generation 4, I believe. Well, here's our founder of the Fahadeen family, and he had Shanna, who married a Bupkis. So Bupkis is... that is a Patrician, so it's in order. So the Coves are the emperors, the Bupkises are the Patricians, so they're the next in line, and then the let's see if we have any in this family. See how I changed the last names. Amphion's pretty awesome. I like him. This guy's so weird. Right. So anyway, I'm blanking on the other name right now. Sorry, the other family starts with like an S, and then there's 2 different families that are slave families just because they didn't have a lot of children, and I know slaves die, so I wanted to make sure they had a lot. So rules of this challenge are like if 2 Sims get into a fight, the loser dies just because there's not modern medicine. Edifice, so that's an Edifice is a slave, Cove is an emperor. So Floriana here. Technically, Yafeu and Floriana are emperors. And there was a stipulation in the original rules that were written by, I think, Swallowtail 87, and the rules are very extensive, so I will link her site because it's awesome. But the anyway, so just because of the way Rome was run, any sim that had, like, even though this guy technically, according to his genealogy, his son should be next in line for the emperor, he's like, it's one of 2 or 3 possible next emperor children. Because of his skin color, he's not supposed to be. So it's very controversial, and I think maybe I could modernize this challenge a little bit and actually have Aesop age up and get his athletic up, and then challenge the current emperor's heir for the throne and see who wins, and whoever wins really is the emperor, because I think that would be so much more fun than following traditional lines of these things. And I think that would be ridiculously awesome. So anyway, I made this kid active, and now I'm stuck with him. And I like this a lot. You can see I used it a couple times. This was, I'm not sure. I think if I go in, let me see if I can go into Edit Town real quick, and you can see this lot. But it's a Roman house that I just downloaded, and I don't have to do much to it. So yeah, Yogi T at Mod The Sims. So if you want to get this, you can grab it at Mod The Sims, and it's the ancient Roman home, but I can't recommend it enough. It has an adorable little, like, pool in the middle, and it just is a lot of fun. There was a couple routing issues. I usually have to clear up some stuff from here where there's like a barricade item, and I tweak it for every family, but I've turned this into a business, and it's just a great lot for anything, so that's why I use it for the Gladiator lot also. Alright, so going back on the tour of the town. So, right, so anyway, those are the upstarts, so to speak, and Floriana, she's actually pretty cool. I mean, her traits came out really awesome. I don't randomize too much, but if I'm not playing that family when the child is born, sorry, I've got to find if I'm not randomizing, or if I'm not playing that family and the child is born, they're going to be born with, like, a default name. They're going to be born with, whatever random traits. And I'm going to go ahead and pause this. I'm going to make active. Alright, so then they're going to be born with, whatever random traits. So I've been letting myself, if I play a sim I haven't played in a while, and I see that they have a lot of BS traits that got randomized in, I'll switch out maybe one and make it better, just because if I was playing them, I would have chosen better. So, I do like to, I like to touch every part of my game, and so this challenge has been awesome for me to see them kind of acting on their own. There's a lot of coves, if you can see how many there are. Now, Kale here cheated on his wife. He's got like 7 or 8 kids. It's crazy. And Fisa, names like this is honoring like father, mother, auntie, pater, just names like that I love. Excuse me, apparently I had an alarm set. I'll turn that off. So, alright, so this person doesn't start with a cove, so these are actually sims that were introduced by the game. So I'm trying not to delete sims. I don't want to corrupt this town, obviously, if I want to play it for their 15 generations, so I have to be really careful with that. So I kind of just reset these sims if I run into them, and I evict any sims that appear in my town, and that's part of the reason I use mods, is because otherwise you cannot manage your town, and I do recommend using some sort of a mod to help you. In the beginning, it won't matter, but by the time you get to Gen 3 and 4 and you have a lot of kids, you need it. Alright, so the edifices, I love the red hair that they have. Amadi is actually one of my favorites. I should bop over to him, but I don't want to go to just families for the overview yet. So Amadi, he's pretty young. He actually has an older wife, but she had a horrible husband, and he married her, and they really seem like they love each other, and I love their relationship. So he kind of he married a woman who was older than he had to have, because she had an abusive relationship, and I'm pretty sure it was that way because her husband was evil. Really evil. And Tekel here is an Edifica, but like I said, being an alien, he would have been moved over anyway. And this guy's, he's so awesome. So it's just some of the way that they came out looking. Right, so if you can see from some of the names here, I had Mine, Tekel, and Parson. That's an old Bible joke. I don't know if that's funny to anybody, but ironically, just in the birth order, Tekel, this is the writing on the wall from, I believe, when Babylon fell. So Tekel was an alien baby, and ironically, that was the writing on the wall for the Roman era to fall. So I don't know, but I've got 2 more generations of Roman to play. So the edifices, or the Edificias, or the Micedis, or whatever. I was trying to play around with the name, but basically if it starts with this, then I know that they're a part of that family. And the Fahadinas are the other family. So, and then there's an orange-red, like almost an Irish coloring coming in here now too, because of this family. So because Fahadeen, he was a caste sim also, so that the slaves can marry up 1, the Patricians can marry down or up in terms of caste. That's how the caste system works. So if I can introduce, like I think I introduced him into a family that was kind of in the middle, and then he could marry up or down because we just needed a lot and they didn't have a lot of boys. So thankfully he had a lot of cute, really super cute little kids. The Saulsons, I'm sorry. So the Saulsons are the middle ground ones. They are the Plebeians. So they're 1 step above being slaves and 1 step below Patricians. And if this is confusing, I apologize. It took me a while to learn this challenge. Evangelina here is another one that I went ahead and gave her like a more Christian name because that was starting a little bit in Rome, in the Roman era. And you would have a lot of families that were going out and as missionaries, and then that sort of thing started happening. So she's basically was a missionary that was kidnapped somewhere along the way and became, a slave who married whomever. And she actually married into a plebeian, or a plebeian family, but she's the one that the emperor cheated with, so she's got his babies in her house, and still somehow is with her husband, but they keep cheating on each other, and I'm done trying to help them not be cheaters. They just are. But the Saulsons in general are pretty cool. There's a lot, they can have more ambition too. They're able to, start branching out and have more careers. But the way the game also works, or this challenge works, is you can pull, like any of these Saulsons, they could work, for a Bupkis, which I think I glossed over them. B, right? They could work for a Bupkis. So any of these here rank above them, and like, Darius or Amphion or Parody, she's another caste sim of the 5 that I created. Right, so any of them could have a slave, or they could have a plebeian working in their house for free. But if those slaves or plebeians or whomever get married, then they move out and start their own family. So, that's a pretty good overview, I think. I can't spend too long going into this. Thankfully, a lot of the sims that are in here are mine and not like this. I did not create her. And you can always see when one's just been created. Ming here is sort of an Asian sim. So when I created the caste sims, I created them as if they came from different parts of the world. And that has introduced new genetics. And his son is adorable. Has like bright red eyes because I gave him red eyes for whatever reason. So let's see what he's up to, actually. I probably would rather not. He's got a huge family. But whatever, you have nice hair today, so that's good. He married... Wait. Hang on. Alright, these are his daughters. Where's his wifey? Oh, okay. Philly. Oh, she fell off the list. She doesn't fit over here anymore. I had another mod that gave me more face plates, and I have to reinstall it. Okay, I didn't name this kid, because look at his name, Powell. Everistus, I certainly named him. I can't even say this one. Aschlitz over here. And Ding, I was playing around with the name, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry, his original name was Mingus Dingus. I just liked the way it sounded. So I named his son, Ding, because I could. And then Urania, Helen, Persephone. Those are very Roman names. So basically, if a family wants to marry up, well, they might name their children more Roman names. If, she's got a boyfriend. I didn't give her that boyfriend, so that's one of my mods doing that. Right. But they might name, children that are not heirs, or children that are not, gonna immediately marry out. They might name them something that is, closer to the ethnicity of the sim. Okay, so I think that's pretty good for an overview. This is actually an original little lot that I created for them. So anyway, I might get into the gameplay as it's taken forever for me to get into this far with the game, and to have this much going on is just a huge feat. And they have these little tiny lots. There's rules about the starter lots, and you can build on them after. Other things that should not need to be said is there's no technology allowed. And right now I have a couple pieces of like Roman furniture and things just to make it a little bit more authentic. And I love this Greek pottery that I got. Some things from World Adventures or wherever. Excuse me. Thankfully, they can have books. Now, when we get into other eras, they actually won't be allowed to have books. So when we go into like the Viking eras, the Vikings basically, they walk by a lot and kill everybody. It's going to get really crazy. So all of the little sim babies that we're having, unfortunately, they're going to die in the Coliseum, or they're going to die in the Viking era if they make it through the Coliseum. And you can't, basically, throughout the entire challenge, you cannot lose your primary starting family. Like, you can't, the main branch of every family has to survive. So there was only 5 starting families, so it shouldn't be too difficult to keep the heirs alive from 5 families, but it can be. So the gladiators are crossing the Coliseum. I guess I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. It did take me quite a while to build it. I'm also not exactly, I don't know if I'm done with it. I don't even remember. I watched videos and stuff to get used to, like, how I needed to try to build it. And there's actually statues in here that the game doesn't even bother to load, which is a little annoying. But if I start going down in to different levels, then you'll start seeing them. So then I just, cloned the same colors or whatever. But essentially, let's see. But essentially I have a little area for like the emperor. He stayed, if he was in a game, he was on the east side, and so he had his own entrance and everything else. And so I have like a little spot for the emperor here. Some flowers and some random garbage. And I haven't staged a game here yet. Like I said, I kind of don't want the Sims to be killing each other. But I can't avoid it any longer. It was a part of Roman life. And I haven't created any... this is just my original measurements that I created. So I don't have any like extra facilities down here yet. I think I have to add bathrooms or whatever. But once I open this up for visitation, I'll basically be teleporting Sims into here, and they'll fight each other, or unfortunately this is where they'll starve or drown to death, and then this will probably become a very haunted lot, and then I'll probably half ruin it so we can preserve it through the modern era like it is. So that's a little bit of what I'm doing with my challenge that is playing off camera. I think it would be difficult to follow this with a Let's Play. Excuse me, drinking more water. Because if we followed it with a Let's Play, we'd have to, or rather, I'd have to go around to, I don't know, 50 lots or something, and I don't know if you could possibly get to know all of those Sims. But I wanted to let you know that it is definitely possible. I mean, all of these households are populated. You're getting evicted because I didn't create you. So this is what I do from time to time, is I'll just move out the Sim, and I'll delete the Sim. Right, so here's, Kemry's family is one of my favorites. I finally got him married. It's a long story. He got into a fight with his previous wife, and she lost, and he's actually a really nice, like, family-oriented Sim, and she died, so that was really sad, because he's got a couple people haunting his lot. The Saulsons over here. So, basically, if I bop around, most of these houses are populated. So, I'm going to go ahead and leave the video here, as it's a pretty good overview. I'll get into a couple things after, and if I can show you more in the future, I'd like to show you more. So again, this is Frog Snack. This is the Test Time Challenge, and I don't know if I'm going to create it in video form, because I think it would be nearly impossible for you guys to see everything in real time, and the amount of time it takes, or sometimes I just bop around from family to family, get the women pregnant and move on, which I'm getting to the point now where I have to age them all up again soon. Because I've been playing this generation for a while because they just moved to this town lot. And I guess I'll go ahead real quick and show you the Emperor's family. And I'll just take a second to do that. Okay. Alright, now Dido Saulsona's... Okay, so Terpsichore here is actually the Emperor's first daughter. And, she has a son now with Dido. And I did name him Tycho. So, Lindsay, was actually Cove by generation from my game that had aged up. Kale is the one that was introduced as a Kaz sim. And I guess I just wanted, like, this awesome coloring to see how it looked with blonde, to be honest. I was just like, that would be a cute family. So I just stuck him over here. So he's kind of the Emperor, but it doesn't really matter so much. I mean, it's really because he's related to Lindsay Cove that he's the Emperor. And, right, so Terpsichore is, she's not a boy, she can't really take over the family. Dido was their servant in-house, and they kind of really had great chemistry, and they ended up just being together. So she's married down, actually. So she's married, and she should not have been able to marry a Saulson, because that is 2 steps down. She should have married a Bupkis or a Cove. And she didn't. She's cheating. So I don't know if they're going to get kicked out of the house or what I'm going to do about that. I'll have to do something about it. But they kind of ended up romantic before I was able to get involved too much. And they have a lot of children. So right now, according to this line, the oldest son should be the next emperor. I don't know if that's Archelaus. There's a lot of kids here too. So, and actually one of their names means like emperor's son or something. But Dido's a pretty cool dude. He's living it up kind of because he lives in the emperor's mansion, so he can do whatever he wants. And I guess I have to change all their outfits into their everyday wear. There's a bunch of kids running all over this place, but basically the emperors have a lot more money, and I can make their houses a lot nicer. This is a house I like quite a bit. They've got hot tubs and stuff I could introduce in the Roman era, so I was really excited to do that. But I try to keep the houses really open too, and if I can, free of clutter, because I do not need this game to lag. In fact, you can go put that away. So, right, so that's my my emperor family. And this house, of all things too, this was built on... now I moved it to a larger lot, but originally there was a little tiny, 30 by 20 little house in here, a little starter house that they all had. So this garden is actually from when the Coves were Neanderthals and they gardened here. So, and I added, I think, the cinnamon tree. So, that's a good overview, and that, see, stuff keeps appearing that doesn't apply, like a university welcome kit. Does not need to be here. But, I hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit of, kind of what I do off camera. If you're interested in me doing a little bit of Let's Plays, or like I can show you the first Coliseum battle, that might be fun. Oh, you look so messed up. Right, so they can befriend anybody. It doesn't matter, that the emperor's talking to a slave. It does not matter. It's just when it comes to marrying, then there's rules about dowries and things like that. So, but I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys for playing along with me. I'll try and show you this again later because the Test of Time challenge is near and dear to my heart. It's been 3, if not 4 years that I've been playing this challenge. I've created a lot of my own lots for it too, along the way. Not this bookstore. My bookstore is awesome. Right. So, hopefully I'll be able to show you more along the way, but I don't know if it'll be spotty. I don't think I can follow the story exactly, but, so fair warning, but I'll show you what I can and just see if there's interest in general. I'd love to play it and show you guys, but I know how long it's been taking me to do videos of just one family, so I think this would take a while to try to actually cover it. But I'll try to bring you along for the ride wherever I can, and I'll just try to remind you of who people are. Because I know how challenging it's going to be. So, but anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and hope it's a blessing. And, take no prisoners, or take some, I guess. I took some. They're over there in that lot. And you guys have a wonderful, it's morning right now where I am, so you have a wonderful morning. And I'll talk to you later. This is Frog Snack, signing out.